It started as a conversation that I never thought would go anywhere. My husband, with his usual curiosity and that playful glint in his eyes, brought up the idea one evening over dinner. At first, I thought he was joking, as we often shared light-hearted banter, but there was something different in the way he looked at me, something genuine. He leaned in, his voice lowering, and said it clearly. "I want you to see me with two girls." I remember how my heart skipped a beat, unsure of how to respond. It wasn't something I had ever imagined happening in our marriage, and yet the way he said it, his tone so soft and full of desire, made me pause. The suggestion lingered in the air between us, a mixture of excitement and trepidation swirling around in my mind. I could feel the curiosity building inside me. Despite the initial surprise, days passed, and the idea began to take root, growing into something more than just an idle fantasy. My husband was patient, never pushing, always letting me come to terms with the thought at my own pace. But each time we discussed it, the fire in his eyes grew brighter, and eventually I found myself considering it in a new light. What would it feel like? Could it really happen? And more importantly, could I allow myself to let go, to experience something so different, so new? I found myself daydreaming about the possibilities, the scenarios planned, hing out in my mind more vivid each time. My heart would race with anticipation. And though I never voiced it out loud, I knew I was intrigued. There was a part of me that was curious about watching my husband with someone else. To someone else, in fact, the very thought of it stirred something deep within me, a longing I hadn't realized was there. And so, one evening, as we lay in bed together, I turned to him. My heart pounding in my chest, I gave him a soft smile and said, "Okay." His eyes widened, and for a moment, I saw a flash of disbelief before it was replaced with pure, unfiltered excitement. We spent the next few nights talking about it, discussing every detail, every boundary, making sure we were both comfortable. He told me about two women he had met, both of whom were intrigued by the idea and that they were willing to join us. I could hear the excitement in his voice, and strangely enough, it only made me feel more certain of my decision. When the night finally arrived, I was nervous. Of course, my heart raced as I got ready, every brush of my hand against my skin feeling more sensitive than usual. I could feel the anticipation building inside me, but there was also a sense of calm that had settled over me. I trusted him, and I knew this was something we were both stepping into together. Hand in hand, the room was softly lit when the two women arrived, beautiful, confident, and full of grace. They greeted me warmly, their eyes kind, but filled with an unspoken understanding of what was to come. My husband stood close to me, his hand resting gently on my lower back, a silent reassurance that we were in this together. I could feel the excitement radiating from him, and I knew this was something he had long desired. We talked for a while, the four of us easing into the evening, letting the tension slowly build. There was no rush, no pressure, just an unspoken agreement that we would all move forward at our own pace. The two women were lovely, their laughter filling the room as we shared stories and glasses of wine. I found myself relaxing in their presence, the initial nervousness slipping away, replaced by a quiet excitement that hummed just beneath the surface. Eventually, the conversation shifted, the atmosphere changing subtly as the playful flirting began. My husband was at the center of it all, his charm working its magic as the two women leaned closer, their eyes locked on him. I watched them, feeling a strange mixture of emotions, excitement, curiosity, and something else I couldn't quite place, but it wasn't jealousy. It was something deeper, a sense of liberation, of giving him the freedom to explore this part of himself, and in turn, discovering something new about myself. When the first kiss happened, it was slow, tentative. One of the women leaned in her lips, brushing softly against his, and I held my breath, watching my heart pounded in my chest as I took in the sight, his hand gently cupping her face, his lips moving with hers in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The other woman watched as well, her gaze flicking between them and me as if gauging my reaction, but didn't look away. I couldn't. There was something mesmerizing about the scene unfolding before me, something that pulled me in deeper and deeper. The kiss grew more heated, more intense, and soon the second woman joined in her lips, finding his as well, the three of them now fully immersed in the moment. I watched them, feeling my own body respond, the heat rising in my chest, spreading lower with each passing second. My husband glanced at me, his eyes meeting mine for a brief moment, and in that gaze, I saw it, his desire for me, his need for me to be a part of this, to witness it all. I moved closer, sitting on the edge of the bed, my heart pounding in my chest as I watched them. My husband's hands moved across their bodies, exploring, caressing, the three of them moving together in a slow, sensual rhythm. I could feel the tension building in the room, the air thick with desire. The women kissed him deeply, their hands sliding over his chest, down his arms, their movements growing more confident, more insistent. And then one of them turned to me, her eyes locking with mine. She smiled a soft, inviting smile and held out her hand without thinking. I took it, letting her guide me closer until I was right there with them. Part of the moment, her lips found mine soft and gentle, a kiss that was both tender and filled with promise. I let myself melt into it, feeling the warmth of her body against mine, the softness of her skin beneath my fingertips. The other woman leaned in as well, her hand resting on my thigh, her touch light but filled with intention. My husband watched us, his eyes dark with desire, as the three of us moved together. Our lips, our hands exploring each other's bodies. I could feel his gaze on me, and it only heightened the intensity of the moment, knowing that this was what he had wanted, what we had both agreed to share. The night stretched on each kiss, each touch, building the tension between us until I could hardly stand it. My husband's hands were everywhere, his kisses alternating between the two women and me as we all moved together in a tangle of limbs and soft-sid eyes. The sensations were overwhelming each touch, sending shivers down my spine, making my breath catch in my throat. We explored each other slowly, deliberately, savoring every moment, every inch of skin, every soft moan that escaped our lips. The intensity grew, the passion building to a point where it felt like time had stopped, like nothing else existed outside that room. My husband was the center of it all. His hands, his lips, his body moving between us, bringing us all together in a shared experience that felt both intimate and liberating. And then as the night reached its peak, the tension finally broke. I gasped, my body trembling with release as I watched my husband with the two women, their bodies entwined, their soft moans filling the room. It was beautiful, sensual, and for a moment,
I felt completely weightless, lost in the pleasure of the moment. We lay there afterward, the four of us, our bodies still tangled together, our breaths coming in soft, even waves. My husband held me close, his arms wrapped around me, his lips pressing gentle kisses to my forehead. The two women lay beside us, their hands resting on my skin, their presence still warm, still comforting. I smiled, feeling a deep sense of contentment wash over me. This was something I never thought I would experience, something I never thought I would be able to do. But now, lying here in the afterglow, I realized that I had discovered something new about myself, about my husband, about our marriage. The night had been more than just an act of passion. It had been a journey, a shared experience that had brought us closer, that had deepened the connection we already had. I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years, and I knew that this was just the beginning of something new, something beautiful, something we could both explore together. As I drifted off to sleep, my husband's arm still wrapped around me. I felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that we had opened a new chapter in our lives, one filled with possibility, with adventure, and most of all, with love. The two women who had been so integral to our experience remained close. Their presence, a gentle reminder of the incredible intimacy we had shared. My husband's arms were still wrapped around me, his touch warm and reassuring. I could feel his heartbeat against my back, steady and comforting. I reached out my fingers, brushing against the arm of one of the women. She turned to me, her eyes soft and filled with a quiet affection that mirrored my own feelings. I leaned in, pressing a tender kiss to her lips, feeling the warmth of her response. She smiled, her fingers trailing lightly down my arm, a silent acknowledgement of the shared intimacy we had experienced. The other woman, equally graceful and gentle, moved closer as well. Her lips found mine in a kiss that was both tender and exploratory, a reflection of the connection we had built. My husband's hands rested on both of us, guiding us with a loving touch that spoke of his deep care and desire as we kissed. The room seemed to grow warmer, the air filled with palpable sense of affection and desire. We explored each other's bodies with a newfound freedom, the kisses becoming more passionate, the touches more intimate. There was no rush, no sense of urgency, just a slow, deliberate unfolding of desire and connection. My husband's hands were everywhere, moving between us with a loving precision that made every touch, every kiss, feel like a gift. He leaned in to kiss me, his lips lingering on mine, his breath warm and sweet. The women's hands roamed over my skin, their touches both gentle and confident, their kisses trailing along my neck and shoulders, sending shivers down my spine. We moved together, our bodies pressed close, exploring every inch of each other with a shared sense of wonder. The kisses grew deeper, more intense as we let ourselves be fully immersed in the moment. My husband's hands guided us all, his touch both tender and commanding, his kisses igniting a fire within me that burned brighter with every passing second. The passion between us was electric, the intimacy profound. Each kiss, each touch was a testament to the love and trust we had built over the years. The room was filled with soft moans and whispered words of affection, our bodies moving in a rhythm that was both natural and exhilarating as the night wore on. We continued to explore each other, our connection growing stronger with every touch. The intensity of the moment built to a crescendo, and we shared an experience that was both deeply personal and profoundly shared. My husband's gaze never left me, his eyes filled with a mixture of love and desire, as he continued to guide us all through this intimate journey. Finally, as the night reached its peak, we found a moment of perfect unity, our bodies and hearts coming together in a shared release that left us all breathless. We held each other close, our breaths mingled our bodies. Tangled in a loving embrace, the room was filled with a sense of peace and satisfaction, a quiet acknowledgement of the deep connection we had all experienced in the soft glow of the early morning light. We lay together, our bodies still pressed close, our hearts full of the love and intimacy we had shared. My husband's arms were around me, his touch gentle and comforting, while the two women rested beside us, their presence a reminder of the beautiful adventure we had embarked upon. I closed my eyes, feeling a deep sense of contentment and fulfillment. The night had been more than just a physical experience. It had been a journey of discovery, of connection, and of love. And as we lay there together, I knew that this was a new beginning for us all, a new chapter in our lives filled with possibility, with adventure, and most of all with love, As the night continued, the connection between us deepened, and UNSB spoke an understanding. Guiding our actions, we were lost in the beauty of the moment. Each touch, each kiss drawing us closer together. My husband's hands remained gentle yet purposeful, exploring the contours of our bodies with a tender care that spoke of his deep affection. His kisses were a blend of passion and tenderness, each one lingering longer, each touch igniting a warmth that spread through me. The two women, equally immersed in the experience, mirrored the intensity of our shared connection. They moved with a graceful confidence, their hands and lips exploring with a mutual sense of desire. The kisses exchanged between us were slow and sensual, building a rhythm that matched the steady heartbeat of the night. We explored each other's bodies with a newfound freedom, the boundaries we once knew, dissolving into a shared intimacy. The warmth of the room enveloped us, our breaths mingling in the soft, dim light. Every touch, every kiss became a celebration of our deepening connection, a testament to the trust and love we had nurtured over the years. My husband's gaze met mine, often filled with a profound sense of satisfaction and love. His touches were tender, yet filled with an undeniable passion. Each movement a reflection of his desire to make this experience memorable for all of us. His hands roamed over my skin, his kisses moving from my lips to my neck, tracing a path of affection that left me breathless. The two women, their presence a harmonious addition to our evening, responded with equal tenderness. Their touches were soft, their kisses warm, creating a dynamic of intimacy that was both exhilarating and comforting. Each of us contributed to a shared experience that was both unique and deeply fulfilling. We continued to explore our bodies, moving together in a dance of affection and desire. The kisses grew more intense, the touches more exploratory, as we embraced the freedom of the moment. There was no rush, no sense of urgency, just a slow, deliberate exploration of each other's desires and needs as the night progressed. The energy in the room shifted, the passion building to a crescendo. We were all fully immersed in the experience, our connections deepening with every touch. The physical intimacy we shared was accompanied by an emote closeness that made the moment even more profound. When we finally reached the peak of our shared experience, the sense of unity and fulfillment was palpable. We held each other close, our bodies entwined in a loving embrace. The room was filled with a peaceful silence, a reflection of the deep connection we had all shared. In the quiet that followed, we continued to hold each other, our breaths slowly returning to normal. The softness of the sheets and the warmth of our bodies created a cocoon of intimacy that was both comforting and serene. My husband's arms were around me, his touch gentle and reassuring, while the two women rested beside us, their presence a comforting reminder of the beautiful journey we had shared. As the night gave way to the early morning light, we lay together, our hearts full of the love and connection we had experienced. The sense of adventure and exploration had brought us closer, deepening our bond in ways we had never imagined. I felt a profound sense of peace and satisfaction, knowing that this experience had been a new chapter in our lives, filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. We had shared something truly special, something that would always remain a cherished memory. And as we drifted off to sleep, wrapped in each other's embrace, I knew that the love we had shared would continue to grow, nurturing our connection and guiding us through the adventures that lay ahead.